What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Non-Negotiables podcast. Thank you all for being here. I realize watching back some of the previous videos, I tend to just jump right into it, and I don't do any kind of intro, any kind of welcome. And at the end of a long day of work, I'm just so psyched to get on here and vomit all of the stuff that's in my head and heart. And so my apologies, but I am glad you're here. I'm glad you're listening. And as usual, if you would share the links to the channel and the podcast. I'm not looking for fame and fortune here, just 1,000 subscribers. That's all I need. 1,000 subscribers. And then we start to really do some damage in the YouTubes of the world. Well, interesting story came out today. And I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of the politics. It's important stuff, and we got to talk about it. And yesterday was great. I was pissed off and just livid about Trump signing the stimulus plan. And if it wasn't for coming on here and talking about it, I would have just been pissed off all night and all day today. But if you didn't catch the last stream, go and watch it. And you can see me in real time go from very upset to hopeful. And I think it's great. But today I think it's time for a break. In political news, the thing I want to talk about today is Trump beating Obama out of the most admired man poll. I didn't even know they did this poll. But apparently for about 76 years, Gallup polls reaches out to people and asks, in your opinion, for you personally, who is the most admired man to you? They also ask who the most admired woman is. But for the last 12 years running, the answer has been Obama. Barack Obama, the most admired man. And you gotta wonder how the hell that is even possible. How could it possibly be that Obama is the most admired man? He was a terrible president. You see, they ask everybody this question. Republicans, Democrats, independents. And so that means that there was a cross-section, a pretty healthy cross-section of Republicans, Democrats, and independents, all of them who selected Barack Obama. And I think I know how that could be. As a matter of fact, I can tell you for sure how it can be. Doing anything short of kissing the feet of Barack Obama prior to President Trump was an instant indicator of your soiled soul and your irredeemable racism. Barack Obama killed U.S. citizens without due process. Barack Obama limited our freedoms terribly. Barack Obama did many horrible things. The Obamacare, the lies. He lied to the American people knowingly. He had his little propaganda Obamacare czar out there talking about keeping your doctor, insurance premiums going down. And then later, this snotty little prick gets caught on video talking about how we knew that was a lie. We lied to the American people just to make sure it got passed. So he's a liar. A tranny lover. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but a tranny lover nonetheless. A smug, middle America hating, Bible believer hating swamp thing. But it was encouraging to watch him lose this time around. It was encouraging to watch Donald Trump unseat him. His 12-year run now over. It's what we were talking about many times over the last couple of weeks. Under this new Trumpist populist mentality, people are done virtue signaling, or at least many people are. We talked about how voting for Trump was literally dangerous. Could cost you your job, could cost you friends, could cost you standing in the society in which you live. You were a deplorable if you did. The news media was calling you a racist. And nonetheless, what I believe to be over 80 million people went out and voted for him anyway. In the face of every power broker, every cultural leader telling them if you did that, you were no longer welcome into their circles, into their cliques. You were no longer even seen as a decent member of society. You were trash. But they did anyway. And this is just another little indicator. This is just one more signpost calling out to everyone saying, hey, we're sick of it. We're sick of your chest thumping and your looking down your nose at us. And I can guarantee you that this is the case. I'm going to show you something interesting about this poll, and then I want to talk about us men with in a little more detail. But check this out. Here are some of the highlights. 18% of the people named Trump as their most admired man. Barack Obama placed second with 15%. Hold on. Where's the... here they talk about the history of it. Here. So even though Trump is similarly unpopular now, 39% approve of his performance, his dominant performance among Republicans contrasted with Democrats splitting their choices among multiple public figures pushed him to the top. Now, keep that in mind. He said that, the Republicans voted for him in large numbers and the Democrats split their choices, but something interesting here. They don't tell you what percentage of Democrats or registered Democrats said that Donald Trump was their most admired man. They say 48% of Republicans named Trump, with no other figure receiving more than 2% of the Republican votes. Obama is the top choice among Democrats at 32%. But get this, that is down from 41% last year. 9 points. He slipped 9 points among Democrats as the most admired man. President-elect Joe Biden, that guy that beat every single voter record in the history of voting in this country, no matter how you slice it, by actual number of votes per capita, however you slice it, that guy, Joe Biden, who is clearly the engine behind Obama winning, because there is no draw at the poll like Joe Biden. That guy received 13% among Democrats. Among registered Democrats. They chugged and charged through the snow and the sleet and the rain and stood in long lines to vote in the tens of millions for him, right? Or at least that's what they would have us believe. But he scores a mere 13% here. Then they talk about Dr. Fauci. He's named by 5% of Democrats and 1% of Republicans, further contributing to Democrats' relative dispersion of their choices. And they keep saying that. They keep pointing out, the Democrat vote was diluted. And then they say independents were evenly split. 11% for Trump, 11% for Obama, 3% for Biden, 2% for Fauci. Now, that's a pretty all-inclusive list. I mean, they basically touched on every single grouping, every single classification, every single party leaning. But they don't mention the percent of Democrats that chose Trump. How high do you think that is? I tweeted at Gallup polls. Let's see if they answer. If I had to make a guess, I'd say it's about 10%. And I don't think that that's a far-fetched notion. I'd say at least 10% of Democrats voted for Trump as their most admired man. And I'm sitting here and I'm watching this and, thinking about what all this means. And again, it's just a silly poll. I think it was less than 1,100 people polled. Ultimately, it doesn't mean anything. But it is a signpost. But then I get to thinking, what makes a man admirable? I wonder, am I admirable? Admirable? To my kids, to my wife? And if I am, what makes it so? We hear about Trump, even from Republicans we hear, Trump, he's brash. He lies a lot. Is a liar admirable? I get it from Democrats, but even Republicans feel the need, at least in public, to lay out all these caveats. No one is better at the caveat than Ben Shapiro. Sniveling and whimpering and asserting that there is no evidence of fraud. Well, if that's the case, if this guy needs to be, graded on a curve, how is it that so many people name him as their most admired? I think that it all comes down to sacrifice. I really do. I think that it all boils down to sacrifice. To watch a man standing on what he believes, facing down a virtual firing squad day after day after day. A man that is thought of by so many as a media whore and a guy that thrives on praise and being showered in accolades. And you watch him, and he is just standing there in the gap, fighting, taking slings and arrows. His business, the threat of his business being destroyed. His family being constantly harassed by media, by talking heads, by authorities, the FBI, the New York District Attorney in New York. He doesn't give an inch. On the contrary, he doubles down, he triples down. I think that's what it boils down to. And sacrifice, sacrifice has been sort of the centerpiece, the defining feature of men for all of human history. We've all seen the videos of our young men storming the beaches at Normandy. We heard the stories of just body after body being dropped by enemy fire. If we replaced all the men on that beach with the men of today, would those second and third and fourth waves of U-boats filled with men, would the doors even open? Would they jump in that water and run towards the bullet-riddled bodies of their friends that lay right in front of them? Or would they cower in the boats, duck way down, and refuse to storm the beach? Before then, just go back through history. Civilization itself, built by men. Men who gave everything, who poured themselves out, day in and day out, to leave the world better than they found it. Caring for their families, caring for their society, for their neighbor, protecting their neighbor. Small colonies in this country early on in the 1700s. No organized army to protect them. No police station to call when somebody was wreaking havoc on the town. It was men. Men putting themselves on the line because that little piece of dirt and their loved ones therein were worth dying for. And I think that if there's one thing that's missing from men today, is that willingness for sacrifice. Sacrifice is a tall order. It's a big thing to ask for, really. How do you ask someone to sacrifice themselves or their well-being or even their time if they're not sacrificing it for anything that they consider bigger than themselves? You'd say, God and for, the cause of Christ, which is a great and noble cause, but every year, more and more men fall away from faith. And you say, well, what about country and the nation state and the your state and your local parish or township, and that's a cause greater than yourself. It benefits all, but no. More and more men are leaving college with the idea that this country is not worth fighting for. On the contrary, it needs to be torn in half, torn apart, cut down to size. Can't even fight for a little patch of land you stand on in that case, because that land was stolen. Well, how about family? Family, you gotta be willing to sacrifice for family. But what family? More and more, I watch the men that I know and I grew up around hit their mid-20s, hit their 30s, 35, hitting 40. Some never been married. Many others divorced. Children, multiple women, or no children at all. You hear over and over again, I'm not getting married. Why would I get married? We have a great subscriber at this channel whose his name is MGTOW. And that that MGTOW movement is moving. Men are just done with family and women and relationships and the damage that it can wreak on their lives. And so there's no threat of ever going hungry. There's no connection to people or to the land or to the country. So there's nothing to lose because it's not yours. You don't feel like you own it, and in many cases, men don't even feel like they want any part of it. But it's got to change. I really believe that if we take a look at the world as it stands today, at our country as it is, if we take honest, radical accountability, I think we all come to the conclusion that it's on us. Men, males, genetic men, born with penises and testicles, real men. It's on us. We sat there and watched the media ridicule us as stupid and dense and moronic fathers. We laughed along. We stood by and we watched our women and girls fall headlong into this feminist ideology. And we lost them. And what our would-be children that are being born less and less lost what could have been great mothers. Only to watch our women turn 30 and 40 themselves and be childless or have multiple children from multiple fathers, used up, wasted. Their only connection to anything or maybe some cats. If you look at that, it was us men. We didn't have the honor and the respect and the care for those women to insist on their chastity, to insist on their chasteness and honorableness. Is that a thing? I have 3 boys and I tell them all the time, you meet a girl and she says anything about feminism, I don't care how beautiful she is, turn around and walk away. We're watching boys buy into the notion that boys are bad. Somehow they need to be grateful that a girl would even look their way. I say no way. I think we got that backwards. I think if us men act like real men, the masters of our own little universe, the leaders of our homes, of our women, of our children, I think that if we take that tack, we very soon would realize that it's the woman that should be grateful to have such a man. And of course, we're grateful for each other, right? But we need to turn this franchise around. We need to start to have something to sacrifice for. If we have something to sacrifice for, if we have something that we will pour ourselves into, that we are willing to run towards the firing squad in defense of something, I think then we can be admirable. And I think that a country of admirable men can't help but succeed. You know, that quote is so true. It's so good. It says that hard times make strong men make good times make weak men, and weak men make hard times. Man, what a great synopsis of all of human history. Well, we're going to get our chance. Hard times are coming. Weak men that have just abdicated their responsibility and shrugged off the God-given role of head and leader in society and our families. The now generations of men that have just been limp-wristed and weak. They've brought us these hard times. Just a sea of uninvolved, uninterested gammas. And so, what's natural will naturally occur. We will fall on hard times. Before they get too hard, find yourself something to sacrifice for. Reach out and get a woman, get a house, get a patch of land. If you have a woman, figure it out. Stay with her. Trust me, by the time you're 60, your prick doesn't really even work that good anymore. So, you just need somebody that you're going to do life with. Fall in love with your nation again. See her for the shining city on a hill that she is. That way, when the hard times come, you can be admirable and admired. That's it. That's what's on my noggin today, guys. I want to thank you all for watching and subscribing and sharing the link. And we'll be here again tomorrow. I'll catch you all on the next one.